Okay, so here's the video for section 1.3. If you want to do page 17, you're more than welcome to for fun if you feel like doing that, but if you want to skip it, you can. All right, so on page 118, we have some vocab here. Just know that anything in bold here is fair game. Your x-axis is your horizontal, and your y-axis is your vertical. Your origin is this point in the middle, which is 0, 0. Quadrants are 1, 2, 3, 4. They're counterclockwise in the Roman numerals. And they go in this order because of an angle. Like in trig, we'd put an angle, and we put one right here, and then we'd open up because positive going up direction. So we would start, if we went up to the positive direction, this would be like a 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle, 180, and so it would move in this direction. So that's why that's quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're either on an axis or you're in a quadrant. So if I go over, say, 3 and up 0, then I'm on the x-axis. I'm not in a quadrant. But if I go over 1, 2, 3, and up 4, then I'm definitely in quadrant 1. So again, read these, make sure you know what the words mean. If we write something like parentheses 4, 1, then that would mean to go over 4 and then up 1. That's what we call an ordered pair. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. All right, and then a variable is, kind of makes sense, it's something that varies. So in math, you're used to x's and y's and a's and b's. Any letter can be a variable. But when you're graphing, we tend to always use the x and the y. So the x you would plot on the x-axis. The other one you would plot on the y. And again, this should make sense because when you're graphing, think of in old days, most things in math are based on geometry. So in real life, you'd start at the origin because the word origin means the beginning, or the original is the first. So 0, 0 is your start. The first number tells you how far you're going to walk back and forth, which if you think historically, that's what people would have done. They would have walked back and forth. And then after they walked a certain distance, they would either go up or down. So maybe in a ladder, they go up, or if there was a hole, they would go down. Modern day, we'd start at 0, 0. We would walk back and forth and probably look for an elevator or a set of stairs. Once we found those, then we would go up or down. So again, you start with your x because it's logical to move on the horizontal axis first. Once you figure out where you're going, then you go up and down. So negative 3, 4, you go back 3, up 4, and you'd be done. And you'd plot a point there. In math, going to the right is positive, going to the left is negative, going up is positive, and going down is negative. All right, so if you look at this graph, someone's already graphed it. So for A, we would go back 5 and up 2, so that'd be negative 5, 2, and notice that's in quadrant 2 because we would start here, so that's quadrant 2. These are probably the most missed in math, which it seems like they're the easy ones, but they're the easy ones to make mistakes, so just be cautious. This guy is at 5, and notice it's on the x-axis. So you go over 5 and don't go up anything. So that order pair would be 5, 0. So it makes sense the number's in the x spot because it's on the x-axis. So just double check these to make sure you don't mess them up. B is on the y-axis, so the number has to be in the y spot. So you go 0 back and forth, and you're definitely down 4 on the y-axis. So if you look down here, that matches that because you're 4 down on the y-axis. All right, so let's go to the next page. All right, so here's some step-to-step directions to help you if you don't remember or if graphing's never been your thing. All right, and then I want you to go ahead and pause the computer pause the video and go ahead and plot these points. So graph them in your book and then put either if they're on an axis, put which axis they're on. And if they're in a quadrant, put what quadrant you're on. So go ahead and plot those quick. So I'm going to pause my video while you work, and then you pause and unpause when you're done. All right, so for whatever reason, my pen is not working on my tablet, so I'm going to try to use the mouse, which probably not going to be the best graphing in the world, but we'll give it a try. So if this is the axis in your book, and this is on the bottom of page 20, A would be 3, 4. So that's telling you go back and forth first. So 1, 2, 3, and then go up and 4. So you're going to go over 3 and up 4. So then you just put a dot at 3, 4, and that is not beautiful. I apologize. 5, 1.7 would be to go over 5. right? And then you only want to go up 1.7. So you're going to be like, well, there's 1, and that's not quite 2. And then you would label that guy B. So here's my A. That improved a little bit. All right. C, you go to -4. So again, you start at the origin always, and then we need some negative tick marks here. So we're going to go over 2, and then we're going to go down -4, and that's C. So we'll put that there. And then let's see, what do we have? D, -5/2 might bother you. You could divide that on a calculator if you want. That's -2.5. So that means I'm going to go back to, oops, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, had a little technical difficulty, so we'll see if this pen will actually work, which I'm not so certain it's going to at the moment. It did a second ago, so we will try, but it's not seeming to like it. So, so let's go D, we go back -2.5, so about here. And you would go down -4, so you'd put a dot right there and label that D. E and F, be careful. E has 1 in the Y value, so go up 1 and put a dot on the Y value. That would be E. And X, go back 3, 1, 2, 3, and plot a point here on the X axis. As far as the quadrants go, if you look at everything you just plotted, A would be in quadrant 1, B would be in quadrant 1, C would be in quadrant 4, which is IV, D is in quadrant 3, which is III, and then E is y-axis and F is x-axis. All right, so go ahead and for 6, I'm giving you the plot, so go ahead and pause the computer or again, video, sorry about that. Pause it, and on the top of page 21, go ahead and write the order pair that goes with the points that are already plotted and which axis or quadrant they're in. And again, I'm going to pause. You do the same and come back when you're done. Okay, so hopefully you're back. You're at the top of page 21. And again, don't cheat on these because in class we would do these yourself, and then that's how you learn. So if you make mistakes, that's actually how you learn. So just do it yourself and then figure out what you know and what you don't know, and then we'll try to fix the holes. And I'd much rather you make mistakes on homework and as we go through things in class so that you can learn, so by the time the test goes, you don't do those things. So, so your point should be parentheses 2, 3 end parenthesis, and that's in quadrant 1. B should be parenthesis -4, 1 end of parentheses, and that's in quadrant 2. C should be parentheses 1, -5, and that should be in quadrant 4. And D should be parentheses -2, 0, and end of parenthesis, and that is on the x-axis. All right, so what I want you to look at below here is problem number 7. So go ahead and pause and read through this. And just notice that right now it looks like something's going on, and we're comparing minutes that someone spends on Facebook daily and GPA. And I know Facebook's kind of grandma-ish or old lady-ish. So if you are in my age group, this might be a thing for you. If you're not in my age group, it could be Instagram, or it could be Snapchat, or it could be any type of, I don't know, social platform. So, so anyway, read this up here, and then you're going to make another graph. So follow their directions over here and make another graph. Graphs have to have consistent units on the X, consistent units on the Y, a title, and labels on both axes. So give that a try, and again, pause, read what it says to do. You're going to make a graph like this, but with different units, and come back when you're done. Okay, so here's that last question, and again, my videos will be better quality once I get my pen working, but for now, we'll make this work. So what they wanted you to do here is, and now I can't get off pen if I tried, I'll try the highlighter, is they wanted you to regraph this data, still minutes on this side, and still go by hundreds here, so 100, 200, 300, 400. And then instead of GPA, they, going by tenths, they wanted you to go by ones. So like 0 now. 0, 0 has to be higher on a graph no matter what. You can never change that. And numbers have to get bigger as you go. Notice this is just quadrant 1 of a graph. I mean, 0 positive numbers here, 0 positive numbers here. Notice they did this little zigzaggy thing over here. That's because they skipped a bunch of numbers. So sometimes if you have I don't know, a big gap, like say you go from $0 to $40,000 for cars where you have no value, and then suddenly you have a $40,000 or $50,000, all these really expensive cars, you might want to just skip all those low values and do something like that. Then we use a zigzag line. So we'll practice that in class. But notice the idea here is, though, if you look at this first graph, it really looks like there is what we would call negative correlation. So the more time I spend on Facebook, so as Facebook goes up, my GPA is actually going down. And so we would call that a negative correlation. But notice if I come and plot it with different units, these units specifically. So like at a little bit more than 100, we had what, a 2.9 something. So a little bit more than 100, we're almost 3. So that's that point. Here at like, I don't know, 225, we're at what, a 2.8 something. So around here on this other graph, if I can find where I'm at here. So about 225, go up here, and we're at, you know, above a 2.8, so not off from where we were before. So we're over there, and my mouse is causing me problems here too. So we're having some computer issues, but hopefully we'll get them all ironed out before too long. So there we go. So this one, again, doesn't look like a huge difference. Same thing with this, I think there's what, 2 points in here, and then over here. So if you kind of look at this one, it's going to look more flat. There's not a major trend. And so you just kind of have to be wary a little bit. When you look at graphs, people are trying to persuade you. We live in a society where there's information coming at you all the time, from both sides and the middle. And so you have to analyze it. So if I was looking at this graph on the right, I'd be like, you know, how much time I spend on Facebook really doesn't impact my grades at all. Where if I looked at the other one, I would say, yeah, it does. So perspective plays a part, but also what units you use can be a huge way to sway your data one way or the other. All right, so this is a video for graphing. Hopefully you remember it from your past, but if not, we will get those cobwebs out. And so then for homework, you in your book would do page 22 and 23, and you're going to do 1 through 5, but go ahead and skip number 4. So do 1 through 5 in your book and skip 4, and then remember every time you have book homework, there's always online homework as well. And the order in which you do them doesn't matter. Some people like to do the online work first to figure out what they're doing, and then they do their book homework. Some like to try the book first and then do the online. That's up to you. So, all right, our videos will get better as my pen works on my tablet. So have a great day, and I will see you later.